Kaliya, this is the Kaliya serpent. We are at the old Kaliya Ghat in Vrindavan. So this was the past, you all know that how the serpent Kaliya was terrorizing the whole land of Vrindavan. So, and because of the poison of Kaliya, the entire Vrindavan's land, the water of Yamuna had got polluted, and even a bird, the poisonous fumes were so strong that whenever a bird was flying above this, that bird would fall unconscious or even die. When the cows of Vrindavan drank water from this place, they fainted, they became unconscious, they almost lost their lives. So Lord Krishna, seeing all his cowherd friends and his cows being unconscious, he immediately jumped. He actually climbed this. He climbed this tree, and it is said that Garudaji had put nectar in this tree. So because of that, only this tree was surviving, and no other tree was. There was no other tree which was having no vegetation was there because of the poisonous fumes of the because of this Kaliya serpent. So we are looking at the Kaliya serpent depiction over here. You can, so primarily we are at this Ghat. This is the Kaliya Ghat. So you can see over here that Lord Krishna is dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, and these are the Nagapatnis who are wives of Kaliya, but they are devotees of Lord Shri Krishna. So, so this is there is one song which also depicts about the glories of Nagapatni, because they were favored by Lord Krishna, and upon the request of Nagapatnis only, Kaliya was spared. So Nagapatnis prayed that how fortunate is Kaliya that the great demigods want to, they great sages, they want the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. They don't get it. But how is that sinful Kaliya, who is terrorizing Vrindavan, he is able to get the dust of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So when they very fervently prayed for the life of their husband, the all merciful Lord, the supreme Lord Shri Krishna, he very, very mercifully forgave this Kaliya serpent. Now we are going and we'll be doing a parikrama of the, we'll be doing parikrama of this Vatvriksha. So this is the tree which has survived 5,000 years, and it is said that Lord Garuda had put nectar in this tree. So now we are here at this place. It's called as the Kaliya Ghat. So this is the pastime. Now there are certain rituals which people also follow here, and they try this this clothing over here. So we can understand that the all merciful Lord, he is always there to help us out, provided we are ready to go to his shelter. So now I am actually moving towards Sanatana Goswami temple, and I'll be moving to the Sanatana Goswami temple. Before I move on to the Sanatana Goswami temple, it is very nearby here, so we will once again have quickly darshan of Lord Shri Krishna. So you are looking at Balramji. You can identify Balramji with a plow in his hand. And above, you are able to also see the, you're also able to see you're able to see now Lord Krishna standing on the hoods of Kaliya and he's playing flute. So this is the very place on the banks of Yamuna from where Lord Krishna has jumped into the water. He fought with Kaliya serpent. He defeated Kaliya serpent. He broke the pride of Kaliya serpent and he forced all the venom out of Kaliya, and Kaliya came to his senses, and on the fervent request of Kaliya's wives, Nagapatnigan, Lord Krishna mercifully forgave Kaliya. So even if in case we commit any great sins, first of all, we should never commit sins. Even if we commit sins, we should very, very fervently pray to Lord Shri Krishna that, oh Lord, please forgive us. Unknowingly, I have committed a mistake. Please forgive me. And He is all merciful Lord. He is, He will definitely forgive us. So we'll proceed further. So now, those who have access to the, the sheet, the Google slide sheet, I would request one of you to access it, and if possible, you can share the screen because I'm not able to, share the screen. So if possible, maybe Advaita also, if you could kindly share the screen and go to the page wherein, after page number, I'm slide number 177, we have this, today's verse, which is second canto, verse number 4, verse number 18. It talks about all the sinful races, even they can be delivered by surrendering unto Lord Krishna. So now we are here. So primarily, I would request everyone to, if you have access to that, to please go ahead and access that. So now we are here. So until that time, we'll all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we'll.
Who has disabled screen sharing?
1 minute, I'll just. 1 minute, I'll just. Okay, I'll go and change that setting. Share screen, yes. So you have access now. So kindly you can share the screen now. So I'll just. So until that time, wonderful. Thank you very much, Advaita. I really appreciate Advaita for. Yes. So this is, please go to the chapter where today's, you have access to today's slide, which I have updated. So you can kindly go down. So we have, so please.
Can you repeat? Which one is it?
It is, I think, slide number 177. If you scroll down at the very bottom, you will come across this slide, which is second canto, chapter number 4, verse number 18. So I'm just moving from the Kalida temple and I'm proceeding towards Sanatana Goswami. So one of the great leaders of our Gaudiya Vaishnava culture, he's one of our acharyas. Basically, the 6 Goswamis, Rup Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Rupa Raghunatha. So all Raghunath Das Goswami, they have made this entire Krishna consciousness accessible to entire mankind. It was the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to inundate the entire planet with love of Krishna. And the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they did exactly, and they have constructed various temples So I am now also at the site. Now I am turning on my video. So please, you can focus on my video as well. So you can see that uh, yeah. So what we'll do is we'll quickly chant the shloka and I'll stand here itself and then I will proceed towards the Sanatana Goswami temple. So I would request everyone to kindly join hands and let us start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Prabhu, you're muted.
Yes, thank you. So now we shall all chant this shloka. Kirata Hunandara Pulinda Pulkasha. So you will go word by word. Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha. Kirata Hunandara Pulinda Pulkasha. Kirata Hunandara Pulinda Pulkasha. Abhirashumba Yavanakashadayah. Yene cha papayad apashrashrayah. Shuddhanti tasmai prabha Vishnave namaha. Advaita, you can, for a minute, you can stop the screen sharing because I just wanted to show everyone this temple of Sanatana Goswami. So I'm very nearby to the Sanatana Goswami temple. So everyone, kindly, you can behold the majestic Sanatana Goswami temple. We are looking at Sanatana Goswami temple. This is Sanatana Goswami temple built 500 years ago. So this was the temple which Aurangzeb was always envious of, temples, and he used to think that this is actually idol worship. It is not real. It is his poor fund of knowledge. It is not at all idol worship, but it is deity worship. So this is our Sanatana Goswami temple. We are all moving towards the Sanatana Goswami temple. It is said that there were two prominent temples. One temple was Govindadev temple. So Govindadev temple was built by, this Govindadev temple was built by our Rup Goswami ji, whereas the Sanatan Goswami temple was, the Radha Madan Mohan temple was built by Sanatan Goswami. So now you can have even more closer look on the Sanatan Goswami temple. See, you are looking at only the almost 1/3 of the temple. This temple was broken several times and it was constructed and again and again. So the story goes like this. Once, what had happened was Lord Krishna. So Sanatan Goswami was a Babaji. Babaji in sense, he used to beg alms and he used to, live on that. And whatever he used to get, he used to first offer to Lord Krishna, and then he used to, you know, you know, um, he used to honor that prasadam. Now, because now Vrindavan is little developed, at least there is now, but 500 years ago, Vrindavan was a forest. In this forest, what had happened was there was nothing. Like, in when you live in city, you have malls, you have everything that can be accessed. But 500 years ago, there was nothing here. There was nothing at all. So Lord Krishna every day was only getting dry chapatis. He was only getting dry chapatis. So, and Lord Krishna was hung to a tree. You see trees like this. So Sanatana Goswami used to hang Lord Krishna on a tree and he used to live in this. And 500 years ago, this was just a jungle area. So you're able to see how this Sanatana Goswami temple is. It's such a big temple. You see, such a magnificent temple built 500 years ago. And this is actually the Parikrama Marg. And this Parikrama Marg goes to the Bake Bihari temple. So Bake Bihari temple is a very famous temple. The Bake Bihari temple is a very famous temple in Vrindavan. So we are there and we are looking at this Sanatana Goswami temple. This is the Sanatana Goswami temple. So this Sanatana Goswami temple, it is approximately 500 years ago. So now what had happened was, since Lord was getting only Sukha Chapati every day, so Lord was not happy with that. Every day Sukha Chapati, how many days can anyone eat? So Lord asked Sanatana Goswami that every day I'm having Sukha Chapati. Why don't you give me something? At least you give me salt. So Sanatana Goswami was a very, very, very old at that time. So he said to Lord Krishna, today you are asking, Sukha Chapati. Tomorrow you'll ask Chappan Bhog. From where I'll get all this? I'm an old man. So, Lord kept quiet at that time, but Lord was not satisfied with that. So what had happened was there was a trader who was visiting nearby, and he was passing through Yamuna. So this is on the banks of Yamuna. So I will go on top and then show you. This temple is very close to the Yamuna. So this temple, now that trader, when he was going through this Yamuna, he had truckloads of salt, and there was there was a obstacle. Immediately the boat in which he was going, it stopped. So because of that, the trader was not at all able to move forward. Then the trader asked for local help. See, what happens is whenever there is a ship which gets stuck or is, he was earlier Yamuna was a very big river. So I hope you all are able to see now the expanse of Yamuna. Maybe you all are able to see at that extreme corner. You can still see Yamuna now. You all are able to see?
Yes, Prabhu.
Wonderful. So this is the Yamuna. This is the expanse of Yamuna. So this Yamuna river, his ship had got stuck. So he approached the locals, and the locals told of this Babaji. Who's this Babaji? What is the name of this Babaji?
Sanatana Goswami.
Yes. So he approached Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami could understand that this is the Leela of the Lord, because Lord asked salt. Here is a salt trader who's not able to go through. So then Lord said, Sanatana Goswami, blessed him, and he said, "Don't worry, you please go and you start the journey again." And he had actually this salt trader has truck, complete ship was made of salt. So then Sanatana Goswami asked, if you get profit out of this mercantile, then you should please build a temple for Radha Madan Mohan Ji. So the trader went back to the ship and again attempted to start off the ship, and very mercifully and to his surprise, it immediately started, and he went for trading. And when he went for the trading, he got enormous profit. He got unbelievable profit, and that profit he shared with, he wanted to build a temple of the Lord. So this is now all the temples are closed. We are at this temple now. This is Sri Radha Madan Mohan Ji Maharaj. So this was again many a times reconstructed, because first it was the invasion of Aurangzeb, who was very much envious. He thought that this is idol worship. This is not idol worship. This is deity worship. So we have Tulsi Maharani here. We have the lordships here. We have Lord Shri Krishna here. So we'll all pray to Lord Shri Krishna. Let us pray. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesho Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. So this is Sripad Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. We are looking at Sripad Sanatana Goswami's Bhajan Kutir. Now let us pray to life. Let us chant the mantra. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we are at this very auspicious place. So I would request you to please take spiritual life very seriously. We have Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, several paintings over here. This place is filled with all Tulsi Maharani here. Very nice Tulsi Maharani. So let me just pay obeisances, and you all also can pay obeisances. So please, again, you can chant this mantra. So let me pay obeisances, and you can also chant the mantra. Vansha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhibhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So this is our Acharya, our merciful Acharya wants to give Krishna consciousness to entire world. Vaishnava Acharyas are called Paradukha Dukhi. The whole mankind is suffering because they do not have Krishna consciousness. You all should become extraordinary preachers. You all should preach the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam, the glory of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the glory of Bhagavad Gita in the entire planet. So now here we can see the inscriptions in Bengali. Sanatana Goswami. So there are many. We are from Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So if someone asks which Sampradaya you all are from, you can always say we are from Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. What is the meaning of Gaudiya? Gaudiya means Bengal. Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So we all are from Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So now here we will recite the second canto, verse number 4, verse number 18. So Advaita, if you could kindly share the screen, I'll stop the video and then we shall all discuss. So now Advaita is sharing the screen. Now we'll all see that. Now, now this is the shloka. I want everyone to unmute themselves. I'm at a very holy land. Let us chant together. Okay? Kirata
Kirata.
Huna Andhra
Andhra.
Pulinda
Pulinda.
Pulkasha
Pulkasha.
Abhira
Abhira.
Shumbha
Tumbha.
Yavanaha
Yavanaha.
Khashadayaha
Kashadayaha.
Ye Anye
Anye.
Cha Papa
Papa.
Yad
Yad.
Apa Ashrayashrayah
Ashraya.
Shuddhyanti
Shuddhyanti.
Tasmai
Tasmai.
Prabhavishnave Namaha
Vishnave Namaha.
Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha Kirata Hunandra Pulinda Pulkasha Abhira Shumba Yavana Kashadayaha Yene cha Papa Yad Apashrayashrayah
Ashraya.
Shuddhyanti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha
Namaha.
Kirata Hunandara Pulenda Pulkasha
Pulkasha.
Abhira Shumba Yavana Kashadayaha
Abhira.
Yene cha Papa Yadashra Apashrayashrayah Shuddhyanti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha
Namaha.
So let me just give you an overview. This shloka is talking about of the some of the most sinful tribes of mankind. So this is the most one of the most sinful tribes of mankind. So that is there. So they are. So Advaita will go to that that word to word meaning synonyms. Advaita. So now here, if one of you can read the word to word meaning, who will read the word to word meaning? So you have Shrida. Shrida is it? Yeah, yeah. Shrida read. Shrida has raised hands. Let Shrida read it. Only that word to word meaning you can please read.
Yes, Prabhuji. Kirata, a province of old Bharata. Huna, part of Germany and Russia. Andhra, a province of southern India. Pulinda, the Greeks. Pulkasha, another province. Abhira, part of old Sindh. Sumbha, another province. Yavana, the Turks. Kasa Adhayaha, the Mongolian province. Even those. Anye, others. Cha, also. Papa, addicted to sinful activity. Yat, whose. Apashraya, Ashrayaha, having taken shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Shuddhyanti, at once purified. Tasmai, unto him. Prabha Vaishnave, unto the powerful Vishnu. Namaha, my respectful obeisances.
So thank you very much. So now here what has happened is Srila Sukadev Goswami, who's actually saying Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is
Sukadev
narrated.
Goswami.
Yes, it is narrated by Sukadev Goswami. To whom it is narrated?
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit
Exactly.
Maharaj.
So Parikshit Maharaj, he is getting all this information from Sukadev Goswami. So he's talking of some of the most abominable, sinful, human races. So now Kirata, it's a province in old Bharata, means our ancient India. So these are all Sanskrit names. So it's a place in Bihar, this places. So you could kindly go to the purport. So let's read the translation. So let me read the translation. Yes. Kirata, Huna, Andhra, Pulinda, Pulkasha, Abhira, Shumba, Yavana, members of the Kasha race and even others addicted to sinful acts can be purified by taking shelter of the devotees of the Lord. Due to his being the supreme power, I beg to offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So now imagine, I'm just giving an example. Imagine there is a terrorist, he has been caught by our armed forces. So now he has committed so many offenses, he has killed so many people, it's a grievous offense and he should be hanged. That is the punishment for it. But imagine that person, that terrorist, he was not on his own will. There are so many. Let us imagine that it was not a terrorist. Let us change this topic. Let us say that he was not on his own accord killing people, but he was forced to kill people, but it was under the force of another demoniac person. He had killed those people. So primarily, yes, he has at the prima facie, it seems that he is offender, he has killed so many people, but definitely we can understand that he is just the instrument, someone else. If we punish him, we will not get to the original culprit. So now our investigating agencies, they negotiate with him and they say that if you help us reach to the original actual person who actually brought about this heinous act, then we will save other lives from being killed. So he becomes, and he helps them, and he gets that original person who was the actual mastermind of this terrorist attack. So now, because he has helped the agencies and under pressure, maybe his mother, his wife, his children were kidnapped and he was forced to do this act, the investigating agencies present this case in front of the president. And in the land, only the president has that capability to pardon even a person who is about to be hanged. If someone has got a death sentence, that person could be pardoned only by president. So similarly, the supreme president is who? Who is the supreme president?
Krishna.
So the supreme president is Krishna, and that is the reason this last verse in that last line, Prabha Vishnave. So who is that Prabha Vishnave? It's referring to the all-powerful Vishnu. He can forgive even the most sinner, the most sinister person, the greatest sinner will be forgiven by Lord Shri Krishna. So now I want one of you to read the purport. Advaita, could you please go to the purport? Shaurya, could you please read the purport?
Yes,
The
Prabhuji.
first line, only the first paragraph of the purport. So now, can you please read the purport? First paragraph.
a province of old Bharata mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. Generally, the Kiratas are known as the aboriginal tribes of India, and in modern days, the Santal Parganas in Bihar and Chota Nagpur might comprise the old province named Kirata.
Thank you. You're able to see an image, right? You're able to see. This is an image of this tribal people of this Bihar and Chota Nagpur region. So now I would request Advaita to read the next two paragraphs.
Yes, Prabhu. The area of East Germany and part of Russia is known as the province of the Hunas. Accordingly, sometimes a kind of hill tribe is known as the Hunas. Andhra, a province in southern India mentioned in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata, it is still existent under the same name.
So thank you. It is right. This is the Huna is the region between East Germany and Russia. So even now you can see the sinful tendency, like the people over there, they do not follow the Vedic culture. So those who do not follow Vedic culture, they would mercilessly kill people. They would mercilessly, take anything and everything that they want. And if they want, they like it, they will hook or crook, they'll get it. They'll invade the country and they will get that. So no peace talks, nothing of that sort. Now next, who will read the next? Please read. Go to the next slide and please read the next one. Yeah.
Yes. Pulinda is mentioned in the Mahabharata Adi Parva 1700.
It is Adi Parva.
Adi Parva 174.38 with the inhabitants of the province of the name Pulinda. This country was conquered by Bhishma Sena and Sahadeva. The Greeks.
Who's Sahadeva?
One
Who are
Yeah,
Pandavas? Can
Pandavas.
anyone tell me the name of Pandavas?
Arjun, Yudhishthir, Sahadev, Nakul, Bhim.
Nakul.
After Nakul, who comes?
Sahadev.
Yeah, it is that Sahadev.
The Greeks are known as Pulindas, and it is mentioned in the Vanaparav of Mahabharata that the non-Vedic race of this part of the world would rule over the world. The Pulindas province was also one of the provinces of Bharata, and the inhabitants were classified amongst the Kshatriya kings. But later on, due to giving up the Brahminical culture, they were mentioned as Malikas, just as those who are not followers of the Islam culture are called Kafirs, and those who are not followers of Christian culture are called as heathens.
Thank you very much. You're right. So these they are also called as infidels. Can you please next one? Can you please read the next?
Prabhu, can I?
Prabhuji, can I hear?
Yes, please. Yes.
Abhira. This name also appears in the Mahabharata, both in the Sabha Parva and the Bhishma Parva. It is mentioned that this province was situated on the river Saraswati in Sindh. The modern Sindh province formerly extended on the other side of the Arabian Sea, and all the inhabitants of that province were known as the Abhiras. They were under the domination of Maharaja Yudhishthira, and according to the statements of Markandeya, the Lachas of this part of the world would also rule over Bharata. Later on, this proved to be true, as in the case of the Pulindas. On behalf of the Pulindas, Alexander the Great conquered India, and on behalf of the Abhiras, Muhammad Ghori conquered India. These Abhiras were also formerly Kshatriyas, within the Brahmanical culture, but they gave up the connection. The Kshatriyas who were afraid of Parashurama and had hidden themselves in the Caucasian hilly regions later on became known as the Abiras, and the place they inhabited was known as Abiradesha.
Thank you. Can you please read the next part?
Anybody else would like to read this part?
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yeah.
Advaita can read.
Okay. Yavanas. Yavana was the name of Maharaj who was given the part of the world known as Turkey to rule. Therefore, the Turks are Yavanas due to being descendants of Maharaj Yavana. The Yavanas were therefore Kshatriyas, and later on, by giving up the Brahmanical culture, they became Mleccha Yavanas. Descriptions of the Yavanas are in the Mahabharata, Adi Parv 85.34. Another prince called Durvasu was also known as Yavana, and his country was one of the Pandavas. The western Yavana joined with Duryodhan in the battle of Kurukshetra under the pressure of Karna. It was also foretold that these Yavanas would also conquer India, and it proved to be true.
Thank you. So, can anyone read the next part?
Prabhuji, I will read.
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yes, you can read.
Prabhuji?
Inhabitants
Yes.
of Pasadesha are mentioned in the Mahabharata. Those who have a stunted growth of hair on the upper lip are generally called khasas. As such, the khasa are the Mongolians, the Chinese, and the others who are so designated. Above mentioned historical names are different nations of the world, even those who are constantly engaged in sinful activities are corrigible to the standard of perfect human beings if they take shelter of the devotees of Lord Jesus Christ and Muhammad, two powerful devotees of Lord, have done tremendous service on behalf of the Lord on the surface of the globe.
Here you will see Prabhupada is telling and is actually glorifying that Prophet Muhammad and Lord Jesus Christ, they are messengers of the Lord. So someone can read the next part.
Suraj.
Prabhuji, can I?
Suraj.
Yes,
Prabhuji, can I read?
And
Yeah.
from
yes.
the
And
version
from the version of Srila Sanatana Goswami, it appears that instead of running a godless civilization in present context of world situation, if the leadership of world affairs is entrusted to the devotees of the Lord, for which a worldwide organization under name of and style of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness has already been started, and then by the grace of the Almighty Lord, there can be a thorough challenge of thorough change of heart in human beings all over the world, because the devotees of the Lord are able authorities to effect such a change by purifying the dust worm minds of the people in general.
So you can read the last part.
Who can read this?
The politicians of the world may remain in their respective positions because the pure devotees of the Lord are not interested in political leadership or diplomatic implications. The devotees are interested only in seeing that the people in general are not misguided by political propaganda and that the valuable life of human being is not spoiled in the following a type of civilization which is ultimately doomed. If the politicians, therefore, would be guided by the good counsel of the devotees, then certainly there would be a great change in the world situation by the purifying propaganda of the devotees as shown by Lord Chaitanya. As Sukadeva Goswami began his prayer by discussing the word Yat Kirtanam, so also Lord Chaitanya recommended that simply by glorifying the Lord's holy name, a tremendous change of heart can take place by which the complete misunderstanding between the human nations created by politicians can at once be extinguished. And after the extinction of the fire of misunderstanding, other profits will follow. The destination is to go back home, back to Godhead, as we have several times discussed in these pages.
So exactly. Thank you very much, Srida. I really appreciate that. See, now, as Prabhupada has explained in such a greater detail about each aspect. So let us understand and let us go in detail. Now we have already reached the banks of Yamuna. So for a matter of few minutes, you can yes. So I think you're able to. So this is the bank of Yamuna. So now we are at the Yamuna Ghat. Let us all pray to Mother Yamuna. Let us pray that we grow in Krishna consciousness and we become devotees of Lord Shri Krishna. And right here on the other end, if you are able to see this, there's a white temple. There's a shikhar of this white temple. This is actually the Imli Tala. So we are very close to this Imli Tala place. Now we'll be going there and then we will complete our discussion on the second canto for chapter number 4, verse number 18. So we'll go in greater detail. So until that time, I'll just will talk of the so Advaita, could you please share the screen? See now all this sinful races, whether it is Arabs. Now, why do you think that? You can see that 5,000 years ago, there is precise explanation, precise prediction that which person, these Arabs, the Yavanas, they're also Kshatriyas, but because they stopped following the Vedic culture, they, one sense they got cut out, though they are, part of the Kshatriya race, because they are not following the Vedic culture, they are called as mlechas. And I think one of you were reading out, you were calling it as mlekha. It is not mlekha, it is mlecha. So meaning of the word mlecha means meat eater. So this meat eater, mlecha, is a abominable person who for the sake of his tongue, he is ready to take the life of another living entity. So now primarily when we talk of world peace, the Srimad Bhagavatam's introduction, Prabhupada writes that this is the spiritual, it is for the re-spiritualization of the entire mankind, and it is, this cultural presentation is for the re-spiritualization of the entire mankind. We are today godless. Do you think the Russians are following God by invading Ukraine? No. God never said that, you go ahead and attack another country. So God, Lord Krishna, he appreciates, in fact, the devotees of Lord Krishna, they are happy with what comes on its own accord. They would not put an extra endeavor for something which we do not have. Like, for example, a devotee will never try to become a billionaire for sense gratification. He will never try to become a billionaire such that he can buy a great resort or he can go to casino and enjoy life. No. So primarily a devotee, he is satisfied with whatever comes on his own account. Now let us talk of these Arabs. So these Arabs, now please closely look at the etymological meaning. The etymological meaning, the word abhira. So in the explanation, it talks of that the province which is next to the Sindh region, the place which is beyond the Sindh region actually, which is on the other side of the river Saraswati, it extends all the way. It extends all the way to the place today what we know as Arabia or Saudi Arabia. So all this Abhiras, they were also Kshatriyas, but they were scattered. Now when we were reading out, you also came across a word Caucasian. Now can you please go, Advaita, can you please go back? I know that go back 2-3 slides before. A little more, little back. So now this is Abhira. We are looking at Abhira, and in Abhira it says that it appears in Mahabharata. So Mahabharata, Prabhupada tells that this is actually the ancient history of India. Mahabharata, the history of greater India. So it talks of a province which is situated on the river Saraswati in Sindh. The modern Sindh, it actually talks of this particular place, the Arabia. So now here the word Caucasian is highlighted. The meaning of the word Caucasian means white-skinned people. So this white-skinned people, especially the whom we known as like Russians, they are white-skinned. The Ukrainians, they are white-skinned. All these people, they have melanin pigmentation is very, very less in them because they live in a very, very, very cold environment. These regions are actually condemned regions. When I say condemned regions, these are regions where they do not have sunlight throughout the year. They are so cold that people cannot walk wearing normal clothes. They have to, cover themselves with a layer of clothes. I remember when I had come to Gurgaon, for the very first time, I was wrapped in so many clothes because I'm not used to this cold. Imagine and Gurgaon was just say some 12 degrees Celsius, 4 degrees Celsius, 5 degrees Celsius. But these are places where temperature goes minus 12 degrees Celsius. Some places in Verkhoyansk in Siberia, there are places which goes minus 45 degrees Celsius. So in such places, humans do live, but they are condemned. It is actually living in such places is actually a kind of punishment. But out of ignorance or because of lack of knowledge, these people habit that. Even these kind of people, these people who are living in these places, this is like actually if someone lives in Siberia, is living like in a prison. He cannot go out. You all after exams, you will all go and play cricket. You can never think, you can never imagine a kid in Siberia, a kid in such a place, he will play any such games. It is not possible for them. Why? Because of the cold temperature. They'll get frozen. They'll be frozen to death. So even such sinful people, they, when they come under the shelter of all powerful Lord Vishnu, Prabha Vishnave Namaha. So what will happen? Shuddhanti. What is the meaning of Shuddhanti? They'll get purified. So they will get purified and they will be devotees of the Lord. And then one becomes a devotee of the Lord in the next, can you please go next, Advaita? Can you please go next? Next again. Next. So now here you see, according to the, it's okay, no problem. You stay here only. This is what I was referring to. A Vaishnava therefore can accept a bona fide disciple from any part of the world without any consideration of the caste and creed and promote him by regulative principles to the status of a pure Vaishnava. So what are the regulative principles? Who will tell me what are the regulative principles?
No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex.
Exactly. No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex. So these are the regulative principles which will elevate a person and make a person pure. So such a thing is possible. Even a meat eater, a mlecha. What is the meaning of mlecha? Mlecha means a meat eater. Even the so-called Brahmana, if he wears a Brahminical thread and if he eats beef, he is immediately condemned. He is a mlecha. He immediately falls down from his Brahminical position because Brahmana is not a rubber stamp. Brahmana is by quality, not by birth. Brahmana is by his actions. What is his action? Patan, patan, yajan, yajan, tatha, dana, pratakriya. So this, if one is not doing, then he is not a Brahmana. So, a Vaishnava therefore can accept a bona fide disciple from any part of the world without any consideration of caste and creed and promote him by regulative principles to the status of a Vaishnava who is transcendental to Brahminical culture. The system of caste or Varnashrama Dharma is no longer regular even amongst the so-called followers of the system. Nor is it possible to re-establish the institutional function in the present context of social, political and economic revolution without any reference to the particular custom of a country. One can be accepted to the Vaishnava cult spiritually and there is no hindrance in the transcendental process. So by the order of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita can be preached all over the world, reclaiming all persons willing to accept the transcendental cult. Such cultural propaganda by the devotee is certainly to be accepted by all persons who are reasonable and inquisitive without any particular bias for the custom or the custom of the country. Now, you all have seen what is happening in Ukraine. So you will be also surprised that recently I also saw on YouTube, there was an Ukrainian soldier who is actually standing with his gun and he's chanting Hare Krishna. Some of you might have seen it.
Yes, Prabhu.
So, yes. So he is doing his, material duties, but he knows that he is part and parcel of Krishna. And imagine such a devotee, if he preaches to a Russian devotee whom he has, like for example, whom he has caught, he will not look at the bodily platform. When there was Cold War between Russia and America, the Hare Krishna devotees, they never considered a Russian Vaishnava, never considered an American Vaishnava as a Russian or an American. They always saw each other as Vaishnavas. And this is the principle for world peace. There was Prahlad Das. Prahlad Das was a American-born Vaishnava. When Gorbachev was the head of state of Russia, the USSR, before Gorbachev, you might have read some history, part of history. USSR was called as United Soviet Republic. So this USSR was torturing Vaishnavas. So they were, and there's a book called as Salted Bread. Some of you can read this book called as Salted Bread. It's a very inspiring bread for all Vaishnavas. Why it is called salted bread? Because all the Hare Krishnas, it's a communistic country. So what they used to do is they used to arrest all the Hare Krishnas and put them in jail. And in jail do you think a Vaishnava will eat meat?
No,
Do you think? So what they used to do is in Russia, as I told you, there is there is not much vegetation there. Every time, it is very cold over there. Nothing grows there. So what they used to do, they used to provide bread and meat as food in the jail. Now this Vaishnava, he never used to eat meat. So what he used to do, he used to only get bread. Only bread is vegetarian. So he used to offer that bread, and along with that bread, because everything else is meat, everything else is non-vegetarian. So he used to have that bread with salt. So therefore, the author's father, he used to have only salt. He used to have bread with salt. Imagine every day one person is eating salt and on bread. No, nothing else. How painful it will be to even swallow, and that bread will become very hard. So no soup, nothing. So this is the story of Vaishnavas, and such Vaishnavas were created by Prabhupada. When Prabhupada went to Moscow, the devotees with Prabhupada, they went to all different lengths and they were not able to find any vegetables. Finally, almost they found a vegetable which is about to, kind of get spoiled or kind of get decomposed. So such a kind of, finally, somehow they got it, and some sabji was made and Prabhupada ate that. And there was only one inquisitive boy was there. Only one person in Russia was found in Moscow. So I guess his name is Ivanovich or so, I'm not sure. So Prabhupada preached to that Ivanovich, and that Ivanovich translated Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is into Russian. And because it is communistic country, there was no printing of book. Devotees used to write that Bhagavad Gita used to be written in Russian. One devotee used to write that in Russian, and you had to make a copy, and like that they used to pass on this. And eventually today, there are millions of devotees in Russia, and there are so many such devotees come to Vrindavan. So you can see that these Russians, these Ukrainians, the Hunas, in this verse, we'll read. Can you please go back to the verse again? We'll read this verse again. The Hunas are from this province of East Germany and Russia. So all these people who live in this place, the Chinese, these Chinese, they eat everything which moves on the ground. Whether that's a lizard, snake, or anything, they never cockroach, everything they will eat. Even such people, if they take shelter of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, they will become topmost Vaishnavas. They can become topmost Vaishnavas if they sincerely follow Srila Prabhupada. So the whole world is waiting for this Krishna consciousness. You all have to become excellent preachers. You all have to, top in the class. You have to get the best score in your exams. You have to come with flying marks. You have to lead this world. You are the future of Krishna consciousness. You have to take up this mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and preach this Krishna consciousness in all the far lands. So let us all again chant this sloka. So this sloka chants, it actually glorifies the position of Lord Vishnu, that even a most abominable person, even he can be transformed, and he can, by the mercy of a pure devotee, by the mercy of Lord Vishnu, even he can get elevated to a spiritual life, a pure life. Kiratahunandara pulinda pulkasha abhira shumba yavana kashadaya yene cha papayadash apashrayashraya shuddhanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. So you all can unmute. Let us all chant together. Kiratahunandara pulinda
Kiratahunandara
pulkasha
Pulikasha.
abhira shumba
Kiratahunandara
yavana
Kashadaya
kashadaya
Yene
Yene cha papayad ashraya
Shreyah
Shuddhanti tasmai
Shuddhanti Tasmai
prabhavishnave
Prabhavishne
namaha.
Namaha.
One more time. Kiratahunandara pulinda pulkasha
Ratahunandra Pulinda
Nandara Pulakida Pulikasha.
abhira shumba yavana kashadaya
Abhirashambha Yavanakashadayah.
Yene cha papayad apashrayashraya
Yenecha
Yenecha Baba Yadap Ashrayashrayah.
Shuddhanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha.
Shuddhanti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Namaha.
So this is the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam. So our title, so all these sessions that we have seen that Srimad Bhagavatam talks of advanced embryology. Srimad Bhagavatam talks about the history of the entire human race. You can find these Sanskrit names, this Kirata, this Huna province. These are all you are actually reading world history. So Srimad Bhagavatam is more than an encyclopedia, and one who reads and perfects Srimad Bhagavatam, the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, one who reads, he for sure will become a God realized person, provided he follows Srila Prabhupada, he follows all the instructions, everything as it is. If he follows, definitely he will become a devotee and he will also make others devotees. So thank you very much. I understand that you all have exams. With this, we'll all stop over here. But before that, I would request you all to chant. So I would request all of you to take out your bead bags, your chanting malas. Please take out your chanting malas. I can see that there is Shrida, Suraj, Manik, Mayank, Advaita. So please, everyone, turn on your videos and let us chant together. We'll all chant together. So who will lead the chanting? So last time, many a times Advaita has done. Manik has also done
Prabhu,
once.
Prabhu,
So yes,
Prabhu, won't you going to show us Imli Tala?
actually that is closed. I wanted to, but that is closed. That's the reason I'm that only at the banks of Ganga. So let me try to reach another temple. So we will chant. Okay, we'll chant. So don't hang out. Let us chant. So Shaurya Jaiswal.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So can you please chant? Can you lead the chanting?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So okay, let us follow Shaurya, and I'll also be chanting. Meanwhile, I'll also start traveling. Okay. So let us.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare.
Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram
Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda,
Srivasadi
Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. So you are actually, if you are carefully see, these are all pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. So here I'll just come from the beginning. So primarily you can see Lord Chaitanya's different pastimes happening here. So this is Mother Shachi and this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sitting amongst the earthen pots. So Mother Shachi there's a very nice pastime. Once we'll discuss about that. So because we're running out of time, we'll not go in detail. So this is defeating of a, I guess he's Keshava Kashmiri, I guess. So he got defeated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is I think it is Kola Vecha. Yes, it's Kola Vecha Sridhar, very nice. Now this is, I think, marriage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with I'm not sure whether it is Mother Vishnu Priya or if it is, I'm not sure, because Lakshmi Priya ji was, like the first wife of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Lakshmi Priya, but when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to today's Bangladesh to visit his paternal ancestor place, at that time Lakshmi Priya, out of separation, it is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes that the separation, in the form of a snake bit Mother Lakshmi Priya and she left this planet. So I think this could be Lakshmi Priya or Vishnu Priya ji. This is Ishwar Puri and his favorite disciple Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then this is Jagai and Madhai, and this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is about to punish, but Nityananda Prabhu is saving Jagai and Madhai. Now here, this is Chand Kazi and Chand Kazi gets defeated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and eventually he becomes a great Vaishnava. Now this is, I guess, taking of sannyas of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Katwa. This is the Shadbhuja Darshan, the 6-arm darshan. One arm having bow and arrow, one arm having flute, one arm having the sannyasa, kamandalu and danda. Then this is Chota Haridas, I think it is Chota Haridas, I'm not sure. There was one servant Brahmana who had gone along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the South India tour, but he fell in, in the like today we have a concept of honey trapping. Similarly, this particular Vaishnava fell in trap of a gypsy woman, and he left the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mercifully dragged him by his hairs and saved him. And this is those tribes. They wanted to attack Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but look at this. Those weapons started, by their weapons, they started harming themselves and stuff. They were not able to touch Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the Supreme Lord. So this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going through the forest of Jarikanda. Yes. This is can anyone tell me what is this? This is this Mayavadi sannyasi, Prakashananda Saraswati, who gets defeated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to this place. He sits in a place where people wash their feet. So looking at this, Prakashananda Saraswati comes there and lifts Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And during discussion, Prakashananda Saraswati is thoroughly defeated. So I think this is Srimati Radharani. This is Lord Krishna's Ras Leela. This is the Radharani in the mood of separation. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is called as Imli Tala because once Radharani was trying to go to meet Lord Shri Krishna, but a thorn of this tamarind tree stuck Srimati Radharani's leg, and she was not able to go. And she cursed that in the entire Vraj region there will be no tamarind tree. And it's surprising that there is no tamarind tree except this tree in this entire Vraj. So, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had discovered this place, therefore it is called as Imli Tala. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanting at Imli Tala. So there are various pastimes, and after several years, some devotees were going towards, were passing under by Imli Tala, and they were maybe they were getting a lot of what happened as I'll make it short. So once somehow for some reason they started chopping this tree. When they started to cut this tree, blood started coming out of this tree. So blood when coming out means it is a living tree. Yeah, all trees are living, but still it is like only when a human or an is cut or harmed, they will shed blood. So similarly, it was found that this is a very, very special tree. So they stopped it, and eventually the worship of Lord Chaitanya started. So Lord Krishna came in the form of Radharani, and that form is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We just celebrated the Gaur Purnima festival. So now I would request everyone to chant along with me. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratashe Namaha. So with the blessings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let us stop this event. I guess some of you might have exams. So please study nicely, score well. Not only scoring marks, get as much as knowledge and becomes the world's best preachers. All right. So with this, I'll stop over here. Thank you very much for joining in. I shall stop the class now. Hare Krishna to all of you. It was really a great pleasure to have